Welcome to Deep Sea Supply instructional videos. This video will detail how to assemble banded manifolded doubles or twins. A simple fixture can be a great help if you have lots of doubles to assemble or disassemble. This fixture keeps the tanks from rolling off the workbench, allows the tanks to rotate, and permits easy adjustment of the band location. A pair of broom handles or yardsticks on a hard floor can also be used if you don't have a fixture. Here is a typical stainless steel tank band fitted with an all-thread band bolt. Various band bolts are available. All thread can be cut to the exact length needed, and it can be easily secured to one side of the tank bands. Note the two nuts on either side of the center plate opposite from the diver. These two nuts allow the all thread to be secured so it won't turn when tightening the bands onto the tanks. This makes later assembly much easier. These all thread bolts have been finished with dog points. The threads are cut back and the ends slightly rounded. This makes starting the wing nuts easier and is exposure suit friendly. If you are hacksawing all thread to length, spend some time with a file to clean up the ends of the all thread. Band bolts should not project beyond the plane of the cylinders. Do not cut the bolts too short either. Keep the bolts just below the straight edge. If the bolts are too long and project beyond the plane of the tanks, they are very likely to get bent when laying down the tanks or sliding them onto a pickup truck or into a van. Notice that we have assembled only the tanks and bands, but have not installed the manifold. This allows us to compare the center-to-center distance of the banded tanks with the center-to-center distance of the manifold. The easiest way to compare the center-to-center distance of the tanks to the manifold is to simply touch the dip tubes to the tank necks. They should compare quite closely. If they do not, stop and find out why. Assembling manifolds that don't fit will damage the manifold and result in an unsafe condition. Keep in mind that there are bands for different diameter tanks and bands for different center-to-center manifold spacing. This style of manifold is often referred to as adjustable, but they are not designed to be adjusted for center-to-center distance. Only very small amounts of adjustment are possible without disengaging one of the two barrel O-rings that seal the isolator to the tank valves. They are adjustable in terms of having both valve orifices pointed in the same direction and do allow the position of the isolator valve to be adjusted, but offer very little center-to-center spacing adjustment. Note the two O-rings on this disassembled manifold. Also note the very fine threads on the isolator bar. Use care when assembling manifolds, as these fine threads are easily cross-threaded. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations when assembling the manifold. Once you have determined that the tanks and the manifold are at the same center-to-center spacing, loosen the tank bands so the tanks can rotate easily. Insert one tank valve and rotate the tank. Note the large, coarse threads on the tank valves. These are much less likely to be cross-threaded than the fine threads on the isolator bar. Then insert the second tank valve and rotate. A large strap wrench is a handy tool to finish tightening the tanks onto the valves. But people with large hands and good grip strength can usually simply spin the tanks onto the valves by hand. Once both tanks are secured to the valves and everything is flat and square, position the tank bands. Start with the top band. Set the top band so it is even with or just below the break in the tanks. The break is the point where the tank transitions from a cylinder to a hemisphere. Tank bands should be set at 11 inches center to center. Backplates and wings have pairs of holes at 11-inch centers. It is best to check a couple times as you tighten the bolts to make sure nothing has moved. Once the bolts are tight, verify the spacing with the backplate. That's it. Pretty easy. Check for leaks by first filling the tanks to a few hundred psi, and then you're ready for a full fill.